At the tender age of 9, Kesha Williams clutched her broken guitar, her gaze fixed on the imposing figure of the Stars of America producer. His cruel laugh echoed through the Los Angeles studio, a stark reminder of his dismissive words. "Girl, you're here to make the audience laugh." But this time, something ignited within Kesha, fire, fueled by years of underestimation. She'd spent 3 years on the streets since her grandmother's passing, learning to navigate a world that constantly tried to diminish her. She knew the role they expected her to play, the comic relief. But Kesha held a secret, a quiet strength cultivated in the harsh realities of survival. "I understand perfectly, sir," she replied, her calm voice belying the storm brewing within. The producer, momentarily flustered by her unexpected maturity, couldn't see the depth of her resolve. He was just another adult, easily read by a child who had mastered the art of seeing through masks. 2 hours earlier, a sleeping Kesha was discovered by production assistants seeking interesting characters. They saw a street singer, a prop for their show that peddled dreams to some and humiliation to others. "You'll be last," the producer declared, his dismissive tone reinforcing Kesha's understanding of her perceived place. But Kesha had a plan, a quiet revolution brewing beneath her calm exterior. "Can I ask you a question, sir?" she asked, her head tilted with calculated innocence. "Do you have children?" The question caught him off guard. "2 girls," he replied, unknowingly handing Kesha another piece of her strategic puzzle. Her small, enigmatic smile hinted at the power of information, carefully stored away for later use. As she walked towards the stage, her broken guitar a symbol of her journey, Kesha thought of the letter in her tattered backpack, a letter that held the key to her past and the catalyst for her future. If you're enjoying this story of a girl who everyone underestimated, but who holds secrets capable of turning the tables completely, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Because what happens when Ka steps onto that stage will prove that some people are born to rewrite the rules of a world that insists on putting them down. Backstage, a stark contrast unfolded. While other child participants were pampered with gourmet snacks and professional makeup, Kesha sat alone, a silent observer of their privileged world. A production assistant, with a condescending smile, shooed her away from the snack table. "These are only for official participants," she chirped, her words a subtle jab. "Actually, I'm also going to perform," Kesha calmly stated. The assistant's special girl comment, dripping with disdain, only fueled Kesha's growing resolve. Richard Brennan, the producer, strutted amongst the talented children, his words filled with grand pronouncements of their future. He completely ignored Kesha, who absorbed every slight, every dismissive glance. Then, Ashley, a 12-year-old blonde contestant, voiced the unspoken question. "Dad, why is that girl here?" Her father's hushed reply, "She's here so you can shine even brighter," struck a chord of pure, controlled anger within Kesha. Her mind flashed back 3 years, to her grandmother Dorothy, the only one who believed in a poor black girl's boundless potential. "Kesha, when the world tries to diminish you, you grow twice as big, and when they try to silence you, you sing 3 times as loud." Dorothy, a gospel singer and her vocal coach, had taught her that music was a weapon, a shield against the world's injustice. Even after Dorothy's death from cancer, Kesha carried her grandmother's legacy of rigorous vocal training and a profound understanding of music that would astound any conservatory teacher. "Hey girl, do you even know any songs?" Richard's mocking voice shattered her reverie. "I know a few," Kesha replied, strumming her guitar. His laughter, joined by the other children, dismissed her street music as begging songs. But Kesha's enigmatic smile returned. "Can I ask you a question, Mr. Richard? Did you study music?" His offended reply of an MBA in entertainment management from UCLA and his inability to play an instrument became another valuable piece of information for Kesha's unfolding plan. Unknown to Richard, Kesha carried a letter from Dorothy, a letter that revealed not only her true identity but also family connections that would transform this planned humiliation into something entirely different. As Richard walked away, laughing at the prospect of her public spectacle, Kesha whispered, "Thank you, Grandma. The time has come." Each new humiliation only sharpened her silent strength, a power fueled by the very injustice they sought to impose. While Richard reveled in his cruel fantasy, Kesha calmly retrieved the yellowed envelope from her backpack. "Only open when you are ready to use everything I taught you." Dorothy's words echoed in her mind. 3 years on the streets had forged that readiness. The letter unveiled Dorothy's secret. She wasn't just a gospel singer, but a Juilliard graduate in music composition, a pioneer in the 1960s, and the personal mentor of James Mitchell, the current CEO of the television network. "James has always been like a son to me," Dorothy had written. "If you ever need help, go to him. But remember, don't ask for charity. Show him what you're capable of first." Kesha smiled, her grandmother's wisdom guiding her even from beyond the grave. "Hey, you street girl." Ashley's taunt pierced the air. "My dad's curious how you got in here. Did you lie?" "I didn't lie about anything," Kesha calmly replied, tuning her broken guitar with expert precision. Ashley's dismissive laughter and boasts of Manhattan Conservatory training were met with Kesha's quiet confidence. "Do you even know how to read music?" Another girl sneered. I know a few things, Kesha said, a genuine smile gracing her lips. They couldn't fathom that her training encompassed not just Dorothy's teachings, but also the raw acoustics of subway stations, the resonant tunnels, and the noisy street corner Ziche classroom for her extraordinary talent. Suddenly, an older man with gray hair and gold-rimmed glasses approached. His eyes meeting Kesha's, a spark of recognition. A tremor of unspoken history passed between them. May I ask your full name? He asked, his voice gentle. Kesha, Dorothy Williams, she replied, emphasizing her grandmother's name. James Mitchell, the network's executive director, reeled as the name hit him like a physical blow. Dorothy, his mentor, his surrogate mother, had a granddaughter. Tears welled in his eyes. Where have you been all these years? He choked out, on the streets, ever since she died. Guilt washed over James. Do you sing like her? She taught me everything I know. Kesha's gaze drifted to Richard, still oblivious, still plotting her humiliation. To show what I'm capable of, she said, sealing their unspoken understanding. Dorothy's mantra echoed. The best revenge against prejudice is excellence that cannot be denied. Can I do you a favor? James offered. Actually, Kesha countered. Can I ask you a favor? Don't interfere. Let them do exactly what they plan to do to me. James frowned, confused. But they're going to try to humiliate you publicly. I know, Kesha replied, a familiar smile playing on her lips. And when they try, I want you to record everything. Every second, every reaction, every word they say. Her smile was Dorothy's, a prelude to an unforgettable lesson. They think they know who I am, she continued, strumming her guitar. But they know nothing about what I carry inside me, about the years of training, about the music that runs through my veins, about the strength my grandmother passed on to me. James nodded, the plan solidifying in his mind. And then you do what you think is right with this recording. Richard's voice, crude and mocking, interrupted their conversation. Hey girl, it's your time to shine. We hope you entertain us well out there. Kesha rose, adjusting her guitar, and whispered to James, my grandmother always said that God gives us talents not only to elevate ourselves, but to elevate others who will come after us. Today is not just about me. James watched her walk, a beacon of dignity in her simple clothes, a living embodiment of Dorothy's spirit. He discreetly instructed his crew, record everything, every word, every reaction, every second. This wouldn't be a humiliation, it would be a revolution. The stage lights glared as Kesha stepped into the spotlight, the audience murmuring, some snickering at the sight of the street girl with her broken guitar. Backstage, Richard whispered his cruel instructions. Activate the faulty sound system. I want that horrible hissing. Ashley and the other children watched, eagerly anticipating Kesha's downfall. Hello, Kesha's clear voice resonated through the auditorium. My name is Kesha Dorothy Williams. I'm 9 years old, and I want to dedicate this song to my grandmother, who taught me that music has no color or social class. Richard frowned, Dorothy's name stirring a faint, unsettling memory. Kesha strummed the first chords, pure, precise, even from the damaged instrument, making seasoned musicians in the audience sit up. Then, Richard signaled. A deafening hiss erupted from the speakers, drowning out the music. The audience covered their ears, some laughing, believing it was Kesha's fault. Technical problems. Richard boomed, feigning concern. What a shame, but we'll have to end it here. But Kesha didn't stop. She stepped away from the microphone, stood center stage, and sang. Her voice, honed in noisy subway stations, pierced through the static, a powerful force that filled the auditorium. The audience fell silent, captivated. She sang Amazing Grace, a masterful blend of gospel and classical techniques, each note imbued with raw emotion. Tears welled in the eyes of many. Richard, frantic, shouted, turn everything off. Cut the broadcast. But it was too late. James Mitchell's team kept the cameras rolling, broadcasting everything live to millions of homes. When Kesha finished, a pregnant silence hung in the air, followed by a thunderous eruption of applause. The audience rose, cheering, crying. Even Ashley and the other children were stunned into silence. James Mitchell strode onto the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, he announced, my name is James Mitchell, executive director of this television network, and I need to tell you who this extraordinary girl really is. Richard's face paled. Kesha Dorothy Williams is the granddaughter of Dorothy Williams, one of the greatest gospel singers and songwriters in this country, my personal mentor for over 20 years. A collective gasp swept through the audience. Dorothy died 3 years ago, and I didn't even know she had a granddaughter living on the streets. James's voice cracked. Meanwhile, the producers of this show brought this child here, not to celebrate her talent, but to publicly humiliate her. As Richard tried to slink away, James continued, it was all filmed. Every cruel comment, every attempt at sabotage, every moment they tried to turn this child into entertainment at the expense of her dignity. The cameras found a visibly sweating Richard. Richard Brennan, James declared, pointing directly at him. You're fired. Not just from this show, but from this network. Boos erupted from the audience. Richard's 20-year career crumbled in moments. As for you, James addressed Ashley and the other children. I hope you've learned a valuable lesson about judging people by their appearance." Ashley, utterly ashamed, hung her head. Many children began to cry, realizing the gravity of their cruelty. James knelt beside Kesha, who remained composed in the eye of the storm. "Kesha, on behalf of this entire company, I apologize," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "Your grandmother would be incredibly proud of you, not just for your talent, but for the dignity with which you faced all of this. She always told me that music is our secret weapon," Kesha replied, her voice resonating with Dorothy's wisdom, "and that the best remedy for prejudice is excellence that cannot be denied." The phrase echoed, captured by cameras, broadcast to millions. Richard was escorted out by security, his career obliterated by his own arrogance. As the credits rolled, with Kesha embraced by James on stage, a powerful truth reverberated across the country. Underestimating someone based on their background is always a costly mistake. True talent doesn't choose its cradle, it simply waits for the right moment to shine and rewrite the rules of a world that insists on putting people in boxes too small to contain their greatness. The aftermath was a whirlwind. Kesha's performance went viral, reaching 50 million views in less than 24 hours. James Mitchell, true to his word, held a national press conference, revealing all the raw, unedited footage of the backstage cruelty. Richard Brennan's career imploded. He became a pariah, forced to leave Los Angeles and eventually settling for a job as a used car salesman. Ashley and the other children faced their own reckoning, with Ashley's parents withdrawing her from conservatory, hoping she'd learn humility in a public school. But the most extraordinary transformation was Kesha's. James didn't just apologize. He created the Dorothy Williams program, offering full music scholarships to underprivileged children. Kesha became its first beneficiary, receiving a scholarship to the Los Angeles Music Academy and a home. James and his wife, Margaret, unable to have children, adopted her. Dorothy always said that music connects us as a family. James explained on the day of the adoption, "Kesha has brought back something we lost when Dorothy left us." 6 months later, Kesha performed at Carnegie Hall with the New York Philharmonic, a concert broadcast live, raising $5 million for the Dorothy Williams program, which had already helped over 200 children. Her dedication, tearfully delivered to her grandmother and to all children judged by their appearance, resonated deeply with the audience. The Stars of America show underwent a complete overhaul, with a new slogan emblazoned on the stage: "Talent does not choose its birthplace, color, or social class." 2 years later, 11-year-old Kesha released her debut album, Voices from the Street, earning a Grammy nomination. At the ceremony, she carried her now-restored broken guitar, a poignant reminder of her journey. "This guitar taught me that our true strength comes not from what we have, but from what we do with what we have," she declared, accepting her award, "and that sometimes we need to be at our lowest point to discover how high we can fly." Ashley, watching from home, sent Kesha a heartfelt apology, confessing that the experience had changed her perspective on privilege and humility. They became friends, proving that sincerity can bridge even the deepest wounds. James Mitchell often reflected on how an act of injustice had become a catalyst for profound change. "Dorothy always said that God uses unexpected people to teach lessons the world needs to learn. Kesha wasn't just a child we found, she was the teacher we needed." Kesha Williams' story transcended individual triumph. At 13, she balances advanced music studies, charity performances, and artistic direction of the Dorothy Williams program, which has now benefited over 1,000 children. She never forgets her origins, regularly visiting shelters to identify new talent. "My grandmother always told me that our gifts are not just to elevate ourselves, but to build bridges so that others can rise as well." She often tells the children she mentors, "The lesson endures. Underestimating someone based on their appearance, origin, or current situation is always a mistake that comes at a high price." True talent doesn't ask permission to shine, it just waits for the right opportunity to rewrite the rules of a world that insists on putting extraordinary people in boxes too small to contain their greatness. And Richard Brennan, in The Bitter End, discovered that trying to diminish someone else to feel greater only diminishes oneself. If this story of a girl who turned humiliation into triumph and prejudice into opportunity touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because stories like Kesha's remind us that true victory is not in defeating our enemies but in becoming so extraordinary that they become irrelevant.